instinct, intuition, and intellect are three significant attributes that we have in us. Instinct is responsible for all the physical functions in us. For example, the circulation of blood in our system, the beating of our heart, the performance of the digestive system. These are critical functions which are essential for our well being. Instinct controls these functions. Therefore, is very, very important. Intellect. Intellect rests in our mind. Intellect is determined as the knowledge that we have acquired over time, the knowledge that we are able to translate into probably activities and the implementation of the same are of the intellect. We seem to give a lot of importance to intellect. We'll then discuss this as we go along. The last is intuition. Intuition is very different from intellect and instinct. Intuition is of the heart. And this is a function which we are aware of, but we have not probably given its due importance. With the malfunctioning of instinct, we will then get affected. And therefore, it's very, very important to ensure that instinct is managed and systematically developed. Intellect is basically what we have acquired during our days of our education in school, university, at work, whatever we look around us, whatever we read. So it in a way refers to things that have already happened in the past. Discoveries that have been made which are translated and provided to us in physics and chemistry and technology are developments that are then shared with us for us to comprehend and understand and use should we be in a relevant field. However, intuition is something that has no rational basis, meaning we will be able to determine as to the results of activities of the instinct, the number of heartbeats, the circulation of blood, the performance of the same by measurement of blood pressure. These are all activities that can be measured, that can then be reacted on if required. Whereas in the case of intuition, we will not be able to comprehend as to why certain things happen. I have a personal experience. There was once a relative who mentioned to me that the following day I will get an information from my superiors of an assignment overseas. I couldn't rationalize this possibility. I couldn't comprehend as to why this would happen. And the next morning when I walked to the office, I had a letter on my table mentioning what this relative had mentioned the previous day. When I went back and asked the person as to how they could probably comprehend this or think of this, they said no, it just occurred to them and therefore they shared. And then as one progressed in life, it became a bit apparent that all of us have these intuitive abilities. Constantly, our inner self keeps conveying a lot of the future or of what's going to happen immediately. It's our mind that tends to overshadow these signals. And we can tend to get distracted and then we get into our daily chores that doesn't enable us to read the intellect and the intuition. If we are able to gradually silence the mind, intuition then manifests gradually. And that's what is suggested that one should try and achieve through meditation. So meditation in a way is a process of silencing the mind. And how can that be done? There's a very interesting concept that someone shared with me. He said, instinct is a physical activity. Intellect is something that can be to a certain extent measured, whereas intuition is a metaphysical happening, it's off the mind. So, if we believe that if we bring down the decibel levels of the mind, then intuition manifests. So, how do we then bring down the decibel level of the mind? Because it's a metaphysical activity. There is one physical linkage that enables this, that is breathing. Imagine a dark room. You walk into the dark room, you switch on the light, and suddenly you find a panther, a black panther, staring at you. What happens to your breathing? It becomes a bit erratic. When you go jog, you sprint, your breathing pattern changes. When you listen to soft, melodious music, your breathing pattern stabilizes and remains at a certain sustained level. So, effectively, all that affects your mind manifests in your breathing. If you reverse the entire process and regulate your breathing in a frequency and in a manner that the desired objective is achieved, meaning, suppose you want your mind to become very calm, you then sit back and listen to some pleasant music or something that is appropriate. Gradually, the mind then synchronizes with that particular frequency, and commensurate with that, you achieve that particular state that you want to. This is where breathing's importance manifests itself. And this is best achieved through rigorous practice. Yoga is one particular form. Intellect is important. It's outward looking. All that you achieve through your intellectual development gets to manifest to the outer world, and commensurate with that, one then gets appreciation or rewards. But if we have to look within us and try and achieve the ultimate objective of having intuition manifest itself, that probably is much, much more important than the development of the intellect. One is not saying that intellect should not be developed, it has to be developed. We need to then live in this world and be successful. But intuition also needs to find its relevant place in our being and in our overall living. Thank you.